Okay, thanks everyone. It's 6:02, so I think we can get started. My name is Andrea Vest, and I work in the Academic Advising Resource Center. We're so glad you're here today to hear more about academic advising. We are going to start. I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Carol Parrish to get us started.
Thanks, Andrea. And hello, new spiders. Welcome to the University of Richmond. I want to offer you my heartiest congratulations. You may or may not know it yet, but by deciding to attend the University of Richmond, you have made a very wise choice indeed. My name is Carol Parrish, and I'm a faculty member in the chemistry department, and I also serve as the Associate Provost for Academic Integration. During this presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A function on Zoom. For those of you who might not be Zoom aficionados, if you take your mouse and you hover over the bottom of the screen, you'll see a couple different choices, participants, and then the second option is Q&A. If you click that, you'll be able to type your question into the Zoom feature, and we'll answer it towards the end of the presentation. Tonight, we're planning to share information with you and to answer your questions about advising. We'll be mentioning quite a lot of things, but there are two important takeaways for you. The first one is there are good things in store for you. The University of Richmond is a really wonderful place with many, many student opportunities, and it's up to you to make the most of those opportunities. The second takeaway is that there are many good people at the University of Richmond, and they are here to help you to make the most of your education and to be successful at the University of Richmond. Let's talk a little bit about those opportunities. Of course, we have many interesting courses that will help you discover your passions and allow you to pursue your career interests. We have a variety of majors and minors and concentrations. And we have a great wellness center, a fitness center, dining services, many social events, clubs, and high impact practices. That might be one that you haven't heard quite so much about before. So let's discuss them. What are high impact practices? There's a Native American saying, tell me and I'll forget, show me and I may remember, but if you involve me, I will understand. That's the essence of what a high impact practice is. It's about an active learning process that will promote deep learning, something that you will retain and remember when you're 40 and 50 years old. And you attain that deep knowledge by direct interaction and engagement with the topic. So on the next slide are a listing of a number of the high impact practices. It's not an extensive listing. There are more even than what's shown on this slide. And while you read that, let me tell you a story. And I actually stole this story from a colleague who preceded me in this role. He was the director of academic advising at the University of Richmond. And it's a story of a young woman who arrived at the University of Richmond, not quite sure what she wanted to pursue as a career, but she was very passionate about knitting. And when my colleague, whose name is Scott Johnson, met her as a first-year student, she sounded a bit dejected about her career prospects. When he asked her, what do you think you might want to do or be when you're 40? She said, well, I guess I'll be an English teacher. And so she actually, in her second year, enrolled in one of our living learning programs called Sophomore Scholars in Residence that Scott happened to teach. And during these extensive SSIR chats, he asked her the obvious question, why not pursue your passion? Why not pursue a career in something related to knitting? And she said, you can't make a living with knitting, and you certainly can't major in it. Well, it turns out through pretty extensive advising and working with Scott, she took advantage of a number of the high impact practices at Richmond to explore career opportunities in her passion. So for instance, the summer after her sophomore year, she received a fellowship through our Center for Civic Engagement, where she participated in a program at the Stewart School in Richmond, teaching K through 12 students how to crochet and dye yarn, well, laying the groundwork for the Richmond area contribution to a program called, you ready for it, wait for it, the Hyperbolic Crochet Coral Reef Project. Andrea, if you happen to have that link, she'll put it in the chat. This is actually a really amazing project that combines the study of coral reefs with knitting, and it's sponsored by the Smithsonian. In her junior year, this student, whose name happened to be Emily, studied abroad in Scotland, where she participated in Wool Week in the Shetland Islands. And then the summer after her junior year, she did an internship with Vogue Knitting. So again, she built upon all of these high impact practices to explore her passion for knitting. And in her senior year, she did an independent research project and her senior thesis engaging Victorian era novels, focusing on knitting and textiles and the status of women. Emily actually graduated from the University of Richmond and went on to complete a master's degree in material culture and is now in a PhD program in history with a similar focus on textiles and materials. So this is just one example. It's maybe a little bit of an unusual example because the student came to us with a sort of what she felt was a non-academic passion, but it demonstrates the way students can take advantage of high impact practices as well as all the other services and courses available at the University of Richmond to pursue their passion. But in Emily's case, as in all of the other examples I could share with you, she was able to make her years at the University of Richmond her own, from knitting club to working in the costume shop with the theater program to her senior thesis. She took advantage of the opportunities that were available to her, and she took advantage of a whole lot of high impact practices, or what we call HIPs. Right, so as in life, you will get the most out of UR that you put into it. And so I think, in addition to the take home messages that, there are lots of good opportunities at Richmond and there are lots of good people to help you. I think the third take home message is you will get out of Richmond all that you put into it. So let's pivot a little bit and talk about all these support services that are available for you here. They're listed on this slide, and I'll let you read those. But I think that, again, the takeaway message here is that the University of Richmond so I've been at a variety of different academic institutions, and I've never been in a place that's as student-centered as the University of Richmond. And there's lots of people from the Academic Skills Center to the Speech Center to the Writing Center whose job it is to help you achieve your hopes and dreams. You have to put the work in to make it happen, but there are people here to help you. So I'd like to close with, or turn things over to Andrea with some advice to you. Things that I wish someone would have told my 18 to 21-year-old self, or I could have told myself had I been a little bit wiser. Work hard and play hard. Try to live fully and not waste a nanosecond of your amazing lives. Be passionate and pursue the things you love. Working hard at something difficult will help you find your passion. And be confident and believe in yourself.
Thank you, Carol. So I'll draw your attention to the last two items on this particular list, the Academic Advising Resource Center and your academic advisor. At this point, you may be asking yourself, who is my academic advisor? I will tell you that before you arrive on campus, you will actually talk to two different advisors. You will be matched with either a peer advising associate or a navigator if you're participating in an Endeavor program. And those peers are upperclassmen who have had some experience under their belt and are ready to share with you the ins and outs of registration as well as life on campus at UR. You will talk to these folks anytime between mid-June through late July. You'll be in contact with your peer advisor. You will also have contact with a summer advisor. This is a staff member or a faculty member who also has experience in advising. You will talk to them starting in early July, and they will help you get through registration. They will help you put together a schedule. They will talk you through the process in Banner, which is the system that we use to register. So you have two wonderful resources to start with. Then once you arrive on campus during orientation, you will meet your undeclared academic advisor. This is the advisor that you'll work with from your first semester until you declare your major, which could be anytime after June of your first year through end of sophomore year. And then once you declare a major, we match you with a final academic advisor, and this is someone from your chosen department, so an expert, if you will, in the field of your major. You may also be wondering when registration is. If you're an NCAA student athlete, a Bonner Scholar, or a Richmond Scholar, you will register on Friday, July 23rd, beginning at 9 a.m. through 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Everyone else will register on July 26th, that's a Monday, beginning bright and early at 9 in the morning, and registration will remain open for you through September 3rd. So when we think about putting together your first schedule, here are some things that we'd like you to take into consideration. You have to have at least 3.5 units to be considered a full-time student. So we recommend 4 units for your first schedule. You will have to have in that schedule a first-year seminar or an FYS. We recommend you take either 1 or 2 general education requirements, and we call these fields of study, or if you need to take a language, you may want to put a language course in there. And then if you've got some space, we recommend you take 1 or 2 courses related to a major that you're thinking about or a minor that you're considering. We especially want you to make sure that you have some major related courses if you are thinking about majoring in a business, pre-health, or science field. In addition to those 4 units, you will also need to register for a Well 100 course, and you will see Well 102 automatically added to your registration. This is an online module for bystander education. After you've decided on the schedule, on the classes that you'd like to take, we want you to take a step back and make sure that your schedule's balanced. Ask yourself, what does my week look like? Are all of my classes on Monday and Tuesday, or is it spread out throughout the week? When will I study? When will I eat? These are important questions. Take a look at what your days look like. Do all of your classes start at 8 a.m.? Are you a morning person? Take those into consideration. Also, we want you to make sure that you're taking both qualitative and quantitative courses. It will not be a fun semester if all you have are math classes on your schedule. So registration has happened. What if you don't get all the classes you thought you would? That's okay. You can waitlist up to 4 different classes or even sections of the same class at registration time. Now, if a seat becomes open, you will get an email from the registrar and you will have exactly 12 hours to register for that course. Otherwise, they move on to the next person on the list. So if there's a course that you really want, I highly recommend you keep an eye on that email after you register. Okay, what if after waitlists have ended, what if you still don't get the classes that you want? I want you to know that's okay too. In fact, you probably won't get everything you want this semester, but I promise you that does not mean you won't graduate. You have 8 semesters to complete all 35 units that are required for graduation. And our job is to help you graduate. We are here to help you get there. You have some valuable resources available to you for planning. At the top of this list, you'll see your peer advising associate or your navigator and your summer advisor. Again, these are actual people who will be available to you via email, Zoom. When we're back on campus, you can meet with them in person if you need to. These are folks you want to turn to first. But I also want to make sure that you're using the New Spiders website. There is a ton of great information on the New Spiders website, particularly in the academic planning tab. There you will find resources for planning your schedule, recommended first courses in your major or minor, and then any information about the language requirement. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our formal presentation. We will open this up to Q&A. Let me find them, hold on. Okay, our first question, is the wait list specific to a particular section of a course or all sections of a course? That's a great question, Jacob. It is particular to this section. So when you get into Banner, you actually should be able to see course listings right now. You will see that each CRN, course registration number, or course reference number, is a section and will have a certain day and time that it meets. An email, would you like a copy of this presentation? Perhaps. I will have to confirm with Andy Gurka that we have a list of everyone who is present. I should be able to, absolutely, as long as we know who's here. Abby asks about the language requirement. That's a great question, Abby. I will tell you, it's a complicated answer that I have to give you because it does vary on the experience that you bring to UR. I'm going to point you to the language requirement information in New Spiders, but real brief, I will tell you that you can fulfill that language requirement in a few ways. You can take language classes here, and there are a couple of options in a variety of languages. You can take an intensive course, or you can take a non-intensive course. You can test out of it. There are placement tests that you'll be required to take through the language department, or your AP or IB score may qualify, or what's the word I'm looking for? May give you credit for that course. So that's the short answer of a very long, complicated question.
Andrea, can I add something?
Absolutely.
For those students who are on the call who took Spanish in high school, we have an online placement test that I think you can take up to 3 times a year. I would definitely, if you're not coming in with IB or AP credit for language, I would definitely recommend, if you have time this summer, to brush up on your Spanish language skills and take that. Go to the New Spiders website, look at the requirements. You'll find the link for taking that online Spanish placement test, and I would definitely encourage you to take it. Many students who've had a few years of Spanish in high school test out of the first half of the requirement, and many students, or not many, but a number of my advisees have tested all the way out. So I would definitely encourage you to take a look at that this summer for Spanish. I'm not sure, Andy or Andrew or Rachel, do we have an online for French?
I don't know. Yes.
Okay.
We do. And it's all in that language requirement link that's in there. And you can click on it, and it's through the Global Studio. But yes, they will send you register, and then they will send you the test.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Valerie asks, if you plan to double major, how many units are required to graduate? You still need the 35 to graduate, but depending on the majors that you've chosen, you may be required to take more to fulfill those majors. I'm going to toss this one to my friend Rachel Decker, who is on the line. Rachel is one of our peer advising associates. She's actually the lead this summer. This is her second round of advising. Rachel, do you want to take this question? Alec wants to know if a peer advisor is available after summer and during the school year.
Yeah, so the peer advisors are usually only available during the summer, but there is another program called the Peer Advisor and Mentee Program, which is kind of like PAA, but throughout the year. And the applications, to my knowledge, are still open right now. But peer advisors are really only available during the summer throughout late July.
And I would add to that, Alec, I would venture to say if Rachel were your PAA and you shot her a quick email during the school year because you just had a quick question, I'm sure she'd answer you. She would also say hi to you at D Hall.
Oh, I would definitely.
Our hope is that you you build a relationship with your PAA and that they may be someone, a familiar voice at least, or a face if you met on Zoom, that might greet you when you get to campus. Carol, I'll let you answer Samuel's question. What parts of Emily's experience were part of the high impact practices?
Hi, Samuel. Thanks for the question. So all of the examples I gave were high impact practices, right? So her fellowship through our Center for Civic Engagement, her study abroad in Scotland, her senior thesis with a member of, I don't know if it was our history or our English department, but focusing on, Victorian novels that had a textile connection. All of those were examples of high impact practices.
Thank you. Jabir, how much proficiency is the language requirement supposed to provide us? Full, conversational, or very basic? I don't know the answer to that. I think it's definitely more than basic.
Andy can correct me, but my sense is that it's more than basic, and it's a level of conversational fluency. And it depends. That's a very good question. That's tough to answer because when a student immediately finishes a course, they're going to be and have been practicing the language as a result of that course. They're going to be more fluent than maybe 2 years later if they don't continue to practice it. The second part of the question is we have multiple upper level language courses, and our faculty would love to have students interested in developing deeper proficiency in one or more languages.
Thank you. Andy, I'm going to ask you to take this one. You're our resident wellness expert. Ashley wants to know if you take Well 100 throughout the fall semester.
Yes. So Well 100 is a 14-week course that meets once per week for 75 minutes each week. And so you will actually go to that class once per week for 75 minutes. My advice about registering for a Well 100 class is register for all of your other classes and then register for a section of Well 100 that fits within your schedule after you've already registered for your 4 other units. If you don't register for a Well 100 course, we will automatically register you for a Well 100 section that fits within your schedule, and it will just appear on your schedule. But definitely go ahead and register for one, and it does meet once per week for 14 weeks.
Thank you, Andy. I would add to that, you may want to treat your first year seminar the same way. Save it for the end. Get the other courses on your schedule. It will be more competitive to get into those than it will be in FYS. When would we be able to know if our IB scores were accepted by UR? Since the testing situation differed this year, would that impact it? Thank you, Martina. I have heard that our university, the registrar, won't receive AP and IB scores as in a timely manner as they have in the past. So they are going to be late, and they may be received after we start registration. So my recommendation to you, if you're expecting an AP or an IB score to take care of some of your credits, I would hold off on registering for those field of studies or whatever course you may think that it is going to substitute. I would hold off. The last thing you want to do is duplicate something and then not have, or rather have a hole in your schedule if your AP, if you don't need to take that course. So hold off on those. If you think you did good, maybe you have a better inkling of how well you can hedge that bet. If you don't think it felt right, and maybe you didn't do so great, didn't get the score that was required, perhaps register for a course, a history, for example, if you took a US AP exam. It's a tough one, and I apologize, I don't have a better answer than that right now. Drisha, are we assigned advisors automatically or do we have to fill anything out? We will assign your advisors to you. You need not fill anything out other than the information for advisor form in Banner. So when you log into your Banner account using your NetID and your password, you will see at the bottom of your student list a form that you need to fill out. That just gives us an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you so that we can match you more appropriately to an advisor. Ava wants to know how you schedule a language test. I'm going to direct you to the Global Studios website. The language requirement through New Spiders will get you there. All of that information you can find. Andy's put it in the chat. Thank you, Andy. Here's another one for you, Andy. Why is Well 100 0 units?
So Well 100 is a non-unit bearing course. It is, as determined by the faculty, it is, that's why it's 0 units. It's considered a graduation requirement for graduation, and that you need to complete in your first semester at the university.
Thank you. Martina wants to know, how does taking the SMART course impact how we pick our other courses?
So I used to teach SMART. It's a wonderful course. And it really, I don't know that it directly impacts how you pick your other courses, other than the fact that SMART is a double course. It's a one section that focuses on biochemistry, and then a linked section of Calc 1. So that's 2 units, and then you'll have first year seminar as your 3rd unit. So in many ways, it makes how you pick your other courses a little bit easier because you only have one other course to pick.
And then Linnea wants to know, how does the Plan Ahead section work for registration? The Plan Ahead section on the New Spiders website, I assume that's what you're referring to, Linnea. It's just a guide. It's a place where we have put all of the information we think you need to help you plan for that first schedule. That's a good question. Any other questions? Okay, Aiden, thank you. If you plan to double major, do you get more than one academic advisor? That's a really good question, Aiden. You do not. When you declare a major, you pick a primary major, and you are assigned then to someone from that department to serve as your academic advisor. However, I will say that your second major, you can certainly seek out a faculty member with whom you've got a relationship. Maybe you had a class with them that you enjoyed. You can ask them if they can serve as your second major advisor. It wouldn't be that you had to meet with them every semester. I'll speak to that in a minute. But your second major advisor is someone that you can confer with and get advice from. Absolutely. Your primary advisor for your primary major is someone that you will have to meet with every semester before registration, so that the two of you can talk, make sure you're on the right track, plan out a course for the upcoming semester, and then you do need to be marked as advised. There is a step that your advisor has to do before you are even eligible to register. So when you start getting emails from your academic advisor, whether it's your undeclared advisor or your declared advisor, you want to make sure that you keep in touch with those folks, because you cannot register until you have met with them.
And keep in mind to layer on top of what Andrea just described with respect to your official advisor. Throughout your 4 years at the University of Richmond, you'll have a variety of unofficial advisors, faculty who you take classes with, staff member who you worked with, faculty member who you might do research with. There's going to be plenty of people who you can see and interact with as unofficial advisors. It's really a tight-knit community, and you'll find that you'll have lots of resources for people to talk to.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, Andy, I'm going to let you take Gavin's question. How do we register or schedule possible Endeavor classes? Are they done automatically, or is there a special spot during registration?
So if you are accepted to Endeavor and you decide to participate, you will automatically be pre-registered for those courses, whatever Endeavor course it is. And you will see in Bannerweb, if you want to see when it's offered and all that, you'll be able to see the course and it will say open to Endeavor students only. So that would be the course that you would get registered for if that's the program that you're participating in. We will automatically register you for the course and you don't even have to worry about doing that during class registration time.
Great. And Jacob wants to follow up with, if we're accepted into Endeavor, are the professors for that program automatically our advisors?
That is a great question, and yes, they are. So they serve as your academic advisor starting this summer. So in a couple weeks, they'd start reaching out to you, and they will serve as your academic advisor until you declare a major at the university. So that's all the way through your first year and sometimes through the end of your sophomore year.
Thank you. Lily asks, is there an additional advisor for a pre-health track? There is, Lily. Dr. John Vaughn is our pre-health guru. And while you may not be assigned to him as your academic advisor, he is a wonderful resource for all things pre-health, and it is highly recommended that you reach out to him. I'm also going to recommend, Lily, that you attend his upcoming summer series. Sorry. Let me look at the date. John is hosting July 6th, a pre-health webinar just like this at it's either at 6 or 7. Check the New Spiders schedule. Lily, you won't want to miss that one.
I'll also add to that in addition to a dedicated pre-health advisor, we also have pre-law and pre-engineering advisors.
Thank you. Linnea, does taking the language placement test take you out of the language requirement or only move you to a higher level? That depends on what you score. Perhaps it will fulfill the requirement. Perhaps you have tested out of the language requirement, or perhaps you fall in the middle and only have to do half of it. That's a great question for the Global Studio. And Alec, if you applied as a particular major, do you immediately get your major advisors? This is a really good question. When you applied to UR, you probably shared with us some areas of interest or majors that you were considering. You are coming into the University of Richmond as a student in the arts and sciences, in the School of Arts and Sciences. We don't declare anyone prior to the end of their freshman year. So no is the answer to your question. Only after you declare are you assigned to a major advisor. Any others out there? These have all been great questions, everyone. I'll throw our contact information back up here. Actually, let me get Nicole's back up here. Apologies, there we go. That's more like it. Any questions for Rachel while we still have her? You guys have a student's undivided attention right now. Ask her anything. Okay. Well, if I don't see any other questions, Carol, is there anything you want to say in closing?
Nope, I just wish you all the best, and be mindful as you select your courses. Make sure to engage with your peer advisor, your student peer advisor, as well as your summer advisor. Don't stress about things. It's going to be fun and great. Things will work out. And let us know. Our emails are on this cover page. Dr. Morantonio, the Director of Academic Advising, actually won't start till July 1st, but we wanted you to see her name because certainly when you're on campus, she'll be in place. We really look forward to welcoming you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in August.
Bye.